Today we are back at the Tahuya Off-Road Vehicle Park, and we're going to find out if this Subaru Forester Wilderness can handle the hard stuff. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV. A few months ago, I stood on this very spot to introduce a video comparing the Subaru Forester Wilderness here versus the Toyota RAV4 TRD Off-Road. In that test, we went through a number of the features here at the Tahuya Off-Road Vehicle Park, and we determined that the Subaru was just slightly better, mostly because it's a better price than the Toyota. Well, today I am back because Subaru saw the video and they said, you know what, we think the Forester can do some of the harder stuff on that course. And I said, okay, let's find out. So we are back here and we're gonna try 3 very difficult challenges. The first is gonna be the water crossing that we skipped the first time. The second is a hill climb that you haven't seen yet. And the third, we're gonna tackle the Gatekeeper. Now the Gatekeeper is a rock garden that you have to get over to get into the park on the north side. You might have seen that if you saw our Ranger versus Toyota Tacoma video. And today we're going to try it with this. What we have here is a 2022 Subaru Forester Wilderness. It has 9.2 inches of ground clearance, all-terrain tires, off-road tuned suspension, a trail camera, additional recovery points, and a factory skid plate. Approach, departure, and breakover are all improved over the standard Forester. We also reached out to our friends at Primitive Enterprises for more underbody protection. Though yes, this does come with a factory skid plate, a little more is always better. So we have a thick steel plate in the front and a diff guard in the back. Power under the hood is a 2.5 liter Boxer 4-cylinder making 182 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque. It's connected to a continuously variable transmission with a wider ratio and revised final drive over the standard Forester. An extra transmission cooler keeps temperatures in check. Symmetrical all-wheel drive is standard. And here it's enhanced with Subaru's dual X-Mode off-road programs. Prices you see it here with no extra options, $33,945 US, including destination. Now it's time to saddle up and see what this can do. So I was chatting with Subaru on the phone, and it turns out this vehicle is destined for the crusher, which means they don't really mind if I scratch it. Now granted, I still have to get home. They still have to get this back to Subaru, so we're not gonna destroy this car today. However, if I get a little scratch on it, it's kind of okay, and usually manufacturers are not cool with that. But Subaru saw the video and they're like, you know what? We think the Forester is more capable than you showed off. Give it another try. And here we are with the very first new obstacle, an epic water crossing. Now before I go out here, I'm going to check the water to see if this is doable. And now we're going to see just how deep this is. And of course I brought proper boots. Let's get a stick, check the depth. So Subaru logo is about that high. So my biggest concern is I'm going to find a spot that's all mud. We don't want that. Hope there's no leaks in these boots. Okay, well that looks pretty deep. Let's do this. So I want to make sure that the vehicle is going to have the best chance. If we hit mud and we need to maintain some wheel spin, that's where we need deep snow and mud. Just in case it is deep mud up there, I don't know. We are on all-terrain tires. We have 9.2 inches of ground clearance. We can probably get up to about the front badge in terms of depth before we have to start worrying about hydrolocking. So if I start to see anything come up over the hood, I'm probably going to stop and try to pull back out. Now we have a recovery hook in the back of this, and we did bring our truck. It's over in the parking lot. We can bring it over if we need a recovery. So here we go. Let's do it. We don't hit that first stump. Oh, I want to turn on my front camera too. We got a nice front camera up here. Let's see how deep this goes. It's pretty deep. Pretty deep. I hope there's not a big boulder or a log under here. Oh, this is crazy. I love it. I think we're gonna be okay. Yes! Nice, that actually wasn't that hard, but I bet it looked good. Now that we've crossed the water, it's time for a hill climb. Now this is a very steep climb. I'll tell you how steep it is when I'm in the car, but it could be a bit of a challenge for an all-wheel drive system because it's not only steep, it also has a couple slants, which will really test that power shifting left to right. And of course, the Subaru uses brake vectoring for that left-right power shift. And then it uses a clutch plate in the middle to shift power front to back. So let's see what it can do. As we're making the climb here, I'm going to keep my eye up on the tilt and slant gauge that we have up in that upper screen. It's the same screen that we use as a front camera, but I don't think I really need the front camera for this. So we're already at 8 degrees of climb, and that's degrees, not percent of grade, just so you get the numbers correct here. In terms of setup, I actually don't feel like we need anything here. I'm just going to turn off X mode. So this is going to just be standard all-wheel drive, symmetrical all-wheel drive up this hill. So this is pretty much how any Impreza-based Subaru would handle this hill climb. That means Forester, Crosstrek, and even standard Impreza if you have the ground clearance. Of course, the all-terrain tires should help a little bit with grip. Let's go ahead and do it. Actually, I want to get that slant camera on. That slant thing went away when I turned off X mode. Info, where is it? Toggle over there. Okay, we're at 9 degrees. I'm guessing this will max out at around 13, 14, maybe 15. We're 11, 13. Okay, we're already at 13. It's very narrow. One thing we have to look for is sliding side to side. Okay, we're up to 16, 17. This is usually where vehicles start to have a little bit of issue with grip. Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive is going to use that side-to-side wheel braking, and it does do wheel braking even in normal mode. In X mode, it is more aggressive, however. We're at 18 degrees. We're now going to get a little bit of a slant on the left. I want to make sure I don't slide into that tree there, which is looking very close. It looks like a lot of vehicles have actually rubbed against that. Looks nice. We are 2 inches away, so we're good. Sliding a little left, but we got control. And then over and around, and we got some rocks in the way here. Sorry, I was busy looking at a stump. I'm not sure how steep that got. It was probably around 19 or so. And then over and around. And I have to say, Subaru all-wheel drive did fantastic. I did nothing there. I just kept my foot on the throttle and picked the right line. So good. My dad is with me today. Everybody have a take your dad to work day? Well, that's today for me. So hill descent control is very easy to use on this vehicle. All we do is put it into one of the X modes and it automatically engages. So as it detects I'm on a slant, I'm at a -6 degree right now. Take my foot off, it locks, it holds because it has auto vehicle hold. So see, I'm going to stop and it holds and then it releases. And it will descend at the speed which I approach. Right now we're at a 16 degree, 17 degree angle. It's always hard to see these things on the outside of the car. You can see how much I'm sliding in the front because this is rock and loose mud, obviously very tricky. So the thing to consider the approach of the stump here, because I am a little concerned about this, I can go much further to the right, but the further I go to the right, the more of an angle I have in the vehicle, which gives me more of a chance of a lateral slide into the stump. So if I get as close as possible to the stump, that means that I actually have the least amount of angle on the vehicle, thereby reducing the chances of sliding. So I have less room for error, but I have less chance of an error happening. So I'm just gonna go as close as possible to that to see if we can avoid a slide. I'm gonna try to keep a little momentum through it. So if we do slide, we can just kind of pull it through. Angle over, no problem. We had a couple inches there. How you doing in the back, Dad? Yeah, pretty much that's what I expected. Okay, on we go. Okay, well, we only have one more test for today, and that's the Gatekeeper. Okay, so here we are at the Gatekeeper. Now, a Gatekeeper is a common thing you'll see on trails, SUV parks, stuff like that, because if you can't get through this, you're not going to get through anything in there. So this is usually a little challenging, but doable. Here at the Tahuya Park on the north entrance, this is actually way harder than anything on the inside, depending on what lines you take. So it's a little bit harder than most Gatekeepers. And I think we are going to have a serious challenge here today. Not only because this is a Subaru Forester, not really designed for rock crawling, but also I don't have a legitimate spotter today. I have my dad, wave. Yeah, he doesn't know what we're doing. So basically, I'm going to check a line, look for the rocks, and try to find a getaway through this. Now, for those of you who skipped geometry class, this is automotive geometry. You have to figure where the wheels are, where the rest of the vehicle is, and what's going to be hitting. And hopefully you're not hitting anything important. Now, our vehicle is equipped with two very sturdy skid plates that can hold the entire weight of the vehicle. However, we don't have a mid plate installed, and Primitive does make a mid plate. In fact, they sent it to me, but I was too lazy to put it on because I don't have a lift. And it was going to be hard, and it was cold, and it was wet, and I didn't want to do it. So hopefully that's not a problem today. The first thing that we have to consider here is approach angle. Subarus in particular do not have very good approach angles. The Forester is better than some, but just by nature of a boxer engine being placed in front of the front axles, a little bit further back, but you get the point. You end up with a lot of vehicle in front of the wheels. So we have to clear everything before the wheels even get a chance to do any work. And I'm seeing right here, this big boulder, this is gonna be a problem. So what we need to do is get the wheels lifted before we get here. And luckily, some people have had the same exact problem and they've left stuff sitting around. I'm gonna use this piece of tree to kind of maybe do that. Now the problem with trees is they can shift because they're just wood. But that might help get the wheels up and over that. We are gonna have to climb that side. I think that'll be okay. We go up and over. Still need a little bit better approach there. This is where we start taking just a whole lot of rocks. So I don't have the exact approach and departure angles off the top of my head. It's something like 18 in the front and a 30 departure, but I'll put the numbers up right here so you can see them. Yeah, not great. Now, one of the downsides of a system like the Subaru here is that it does rely on wheel spin before it engages brake vectoring to shift power left to right. Because of that, we are going to get some wheel spin on these rocks, and that can kick rocks out. That's one of the major advantages with using a system like an actual hard locker, like we have in the Ford Ranger, like we have in Jeeps and stuff like that. This one, it does rely on wheel spin. You are going to get a little slip, which is pretty common with most crossovers, but it's just what we have to deal with. So we'll give it a try. I am going to turn on X mode dirt snow, and the reason is because the side-to-side wheel locking is a lot more aggressive than standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. I'm also going to turn on the front camera. I would like, of course, a bigger front camera, but I will take any front camera over no front camera. So yeah, we got lots of room over that big rock there, which is nice. I'm going to turn the wheels into the rock, so I'm going to climb up and over. The vehicle is going to settle down a little bit once we break over those rocks, so we need to make sure that it doesn't hit the midpoint. So do you just keep an eye on the big boulder in the middle to make sure that I'm not setting the vehicle down on top of it. So why am I not using sticks and logs? Sticks and logs can pop up, and even small ones, which won't damage the vehicle, can pop up into weird spots, hit tubes, puncture radiators, stuff like that. So I try to use rocks when I can. So is a normal person ever going to do this with their Subaru? Probably not. But I like to see what this thing is capable of. And it's so rare, it's so very rare where Subaru's like, yeah, go ahead, give it a try. I mean, they trust that I'm not going to rip the engine out, I hope. Okay, we're good? Now we're going to go down a little in the front, so watch that rock. Okay. So my dad visits every few years, and he has knee surgery planned, but he figured he can at least move right now, because once you get knee surgery, once that's replaced, you're basically down for a few months. So he's in a lot of pain with that knee right now. So kudos for him for even coming out here and saying, yeah, sure, we'll do that. I don't think he realized he was going to be on his hands and knees. So we do get a little surgy with this thing because it doesn't really have a crawl ratio per se, and that makes it challenging. Get that front camera back on, turned off again. I'm going to do 2-pedal here, so I'm keeping my foot over the brake. Yep, we're lifting that back up like I wanted. Climbing a rock. Oh, there we go. Let's get my camera on. Again, it shut off. I'm one wheel up. Okay, we're gonna put a wheel down. Let's see what we got. I think this is working. Oh, that side is close. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna hit that. I need to put in some rocks over here. So this is my concern right here. What I'm gonna do is try to put some rocks in the back to lift the back up so we don't come down and settle on this. And I also need to put some rocks in the front because this wheel is gonna get lower and settle us right on it. So we have some building to do. Just want to make sure the back wheels have enough time to get up before that front wheel goes down. You should be able to see where my passenger is going. So yeah, we're just trying to keep passenger on this, this, and this. Okay, we good? Drive, turn on that front camera. There we go. Now hopefully the tires lift and we don't hit the frame. We lifting? Yeah, let's give that a try. I'm gonna try to climb over a rock here, see if we can do better. Try to just ease the throttle on. My parking brake is off. We're tilting. You guys are lucky because you get to see the edited version of this as opposed to, you know, the full length, however long, like an hour this is taking. So these pieces of wood we're gonna shift, so I'm lodging them with rocks so that they're not gonna shift down. And if we happen to shimmy left, I'm putting a spot for the wheels to land. So I'm going to reverse a little bit to get a better line because that front left tire is pinching something awful. I'll actually show you. So you can see that front tire is pinched right there against the rock. It's not a good look. So we're going to back up just a little bit so I can turn right and then go out of here. So I'm just going to go back just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to cut right now that the tire is free. So you should be able to see that the tire now has space to move just a little bit. Now there are no tracking lines on this front camera, which I think would be a nice addition. Okay, straight. We're on the rocks. One last spot and then we should be free, hopefully. Oh yeah, we'll be fine. We have a really good departure angle. The worst case scenario, it'll just rip the bumper off. And we carry the bumper in the trunk because the Forester has so much room in the back. You can fit the bumper. Okay, let's do this. We're clear if we go straight. Okay. Oop, shift. But I didn't. Ha! So we almost got that back rock. Are we clear? We're clear! We did it! Yes, and not a scratch. And that's our look at the 2022 Subaru Forester Wilderness. I'd like to thank Subaru for loaning this to us for 3 months so we could shoot some fun videos. This, of course, is our final video with this vehicle. Hit it! Oh, nice. So that's our look at the 2022 Subaru Forester Wilderness Edition. Can this thing do it? Yeah, it can. We did water crossing, we did hill climb, and of course we also scaled the rock garden. So thanks for watching. I'm Ryan Douthit for Driving Sports TV. Be sure to like, subscribe, share videos. We make them for you, and I hope you enjoy them.